Ex-Muslim teen assaulted by family for becoming Christian. And if you can't tell by the title what kind of content we're going to talk about in this, I'm just giving people the heads up because unfortunately, there are a lot of people in our community who have experienced similar abuse from their family. And so if this is hard for you, just giving you the heads up. In a harrowing incident in Nashville, Tennessee, a teenage boy, formerly a Muslim, was assaulted by his own family for converting to Christianity. The mother, father, and brother of the boy were arrested following a welfare check initiated by the boy's employer. The teenager, subjected to physical attacks and psychological coercion, was found in a distressed state bearing physical marks of abuse. As described by the assistant general manager of the McDonald's where he worked, quote, they were torturing him. They had him down where they kicked him and beat him unconscious. This sentiment was echoed by the victim's neighbor and mentor, Paul Levine, who revealed the continuous threats the boy faced from his family. Ultimately, while the mother remains in custody charged with aggravated assault, the father and brother were released on bond. The teen now resides with a Christian foster family, marking a tragic yet hopeful turn for his journey for religious freedom. So, I wanted to talk about this because it's clearly very important to our work, our mission, and it speaks to a lot of issues that our community faces. And so, yes, this kid did not become an atheist; he became a Christian, but he's still an apostate, right? And so one thing that we really focus on in general is the issue of apostasy, how people are treated in issues of apostasy. For example, hashtag apostasy is not a crime. And so, although, this kid still is a theist, we share or our community shares similar experiences in terms of being threatened and facing life altering consequences for apostasy, right? And yes, Basalia is bringing up a good point. No more honor violence, end honor violence. And I wanted to touch upon that as well, because I wanted to talk about this story because I want people to see that this happens in America. I don't want people to think that they can close their eyes and ignore this issue and just say, "Oh, well, that's something that happens vaguely over there. Like we can ignore it. That's not really our thing that we have to handle because that's part of like those cultures and they do that over there and we don't have influence and it doesn't matter and all this stuff." No, this is happening to American children within our own country. Well, my country. I'm American. And the details of this case are really, really sad. So apparently, this kid had been so he worked at a McDonald's, and it seems like some of the people that he worked under were kind of like mentors or personal supports to him. And basically, he had mentioned to his colleagues or people that he'd worked with or that were in his community how they were threatening him. His brother was threatening him to shoot him. They were threatening him with violence. And he basically said, like, oh, this is he mentioned the threats, but was like, "You know what? It's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine." And then his coworkers called a wellness check on him. And when they called the wellness check on him, and this is all based on the reports available to me at this time, that the officers literally found him in the middle of being beaten and assaulted by his family. They described him as having cuts and lumps all over his face. He was trembling and wide-eyed. He was just, like assaulted. It was horrible. And they were threatening him with a knife. And the people in his community were really shaken about this. So one of his coworkers said, uh, she was female. She said, "I kind of adopted him in my heart, and I knew about this problem because he had come before and said, 'My mom put a knife to my throat and said that if I don't deny Jesus, she will kill me.'" And the mother is still in custody, but the son and father are out on bond. And their neighbor, who is a pastor who became another mentor to the young boy, said, "He told me a week ago that he was threatened by his brother, that his brother was going to shoot him." The pastor asked if he was okay, and the boy said that they wouldn't do anything, but they did. The pastor added that the victim was always asking about his church and about the Christian faith, and he added that no one knew the boy's parents well. He said, quote, "They don't have any friends in the neighborhood. You never see them out." And then he added that he's very uneasy knowing that the two suspects are back in the community. Um, so there this case makes me think of several things. One, I hope that someone in the Tennessee Police Department, or excuse me, the Nashville Police Department, understands that this is a form of honor violence, because a lot of people don't understand that this is honor violence, right? Because they think of it normally as something that happens to young girls. But again, boys can also be inflicted with honor violence. I hope people also understand that this is religious. I mean, and it sounds stupid to say when the headline is literally Muslim family allegedly assaulted their son over Christian faith, you know. And I'm actually really glad that it's being reported that way, because often it's reported in a way where they try to basically not name what is happening. But in the news reports that I saw coming out of Nashville, they did name what is happening. And what is happening is this family is assaulting their son over apostasy. And I really hope that he is kept in a safe space for a long period of time. I really want this child to be safeguarded, because there's lots of instances where children get returned to their families only to have the abuse continue and to ultimately have them be murdered. And so I hope the authorities are taking this very, very seriously. And I hope they somehow have someone who is competent in these issues to explain what's going on here, because most police departments would not understand the details of what's going on here based on the training that I've done in terms of intervening in awareness of honor violence. Um, and It makes me very, very sad, and I really hope this child can have the safe environment that he deserves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a
So we have
comment
a
from Sakai that I want to address. Sakai is saying, "Not surprised. Several cases of ex-Muslim honor killings have occurred in the South, Texas, especially surprisingly." It's because Texas actually has a huge immigrant population from South Asia and the Middle East. So there's a huge Pakistani immigrant population in Texas. There's a big Afghan community. There's a huge Iranian community. And partially it has to do that one of the largest refugee resettlement services is in Houston
hmm.
through the IOM. Um, yeah.
By the
Sorry,
way,
what were you saying, Armin?
I saw D highlighting a comment in on social media saying, "Do you can you imagine how big the backlash would be if it was the other way around? Imagine what big of it. This is, by the way, some people are surprised that this is in America. Yeah, this happened in America, but imagine how big of a news this would be in America if if a Christian family was beating the crap out of their child because the child turned Muslim. I think this would the whole Islamophobia outrage. I mean, rightfully so. By the way, I don't want to say that it would be rightfully outraged, and it would be covered so much. I just the double standard. I can just didn't you agree, Susie, that this would be the other way
I
if it
would
was the other way
completely
around?
agree. I completely
Does
agree.
anybody does anybody disagree with us that if this was a Christian family beating up their kid because their kid turned Muslim, this would have gotten a lot more coverage. A lot more coverage. Yeah, people see the saying huge double standard. Yeah.
One thing that
So
really worries me is I've been thinking about this a lot since I heard about this story. I have a friend of mine that's pursuing a PhD in psychology. And she told me that in her cohort, they have conversations where there are people that are so woke that they question whether CPS should be called on different people given their culture.
mm, wow. Jesus Christ.
And that utterly terrifies me.
Wow.
That is the standard or norm or a believed to be intelligent, enlightened understanding of child safeguarding and well-being. That maybe we're actually perpetuating systems of racism to help intervene in situations of children being assaulted. It terrifies me. Because if someone like that was involved as a social worker in a case like this, what do you think would happen?
Mm.
Like,
So,
I
by the
don't
way, some. Hmm, yeah,
it
go
just
on.
makes me so angry how this twisted way of thinking protects the most conservative elements within a minority
Right.
group to the detriment of the most vulnerable within that minority group. And this is supposed to be the people that are so sensitive to the oppression of others. It makes me sick. It makes me so upset. Yeah. So I really
So,
hope people understand this for what this is. This is abuse. This is hatred on the basis of apostasy. This is hatred of apostasy. This is honor-based violence. Um, and one thing I just want people to understand that this is they're like, oh, well, maybe it's just like their country or where they come from. If that is the case, then why is it that I have more friends than I can even count right now who have gone through this same experience, except for being atheist, not becoming Christian? I mean, I don't even know how many of my friends have gone through this because it's like so common. And they speak different languages, they come from different cultures, they come from different countries, they come from different ages, like different generations. So if that's the case, what is the thing in common? When none of
so
these countries, time periods, cultures, languages have anything in common,
guys,
but the
stay in the live
pattern
chat.
of abuse is the
What's the
same,
comment? Yeah,
what
tell
could
us in the
be
live
the
chat.
common denominator?
Yeah, tell us in the live chat. What is the common denominator? So we have. Let me just check some of the comments that people left in the live chat. Dark is saying, "Who the hell does that to their kids?" Well, the answer is many Muslims. Many,
A
many,
lot of
many,
people.
many. A lot of Muslims, specifically a lot of Muslims. That's who. Again, I didn't say all, but mostly Muslims. Um, I don't know why so many people were asking us in the live chat if we condemn Hamas. We do condemn Hamas. We have been. This channel has been focusing on condemning Hamas, but yeah. Oh, SFL
I don't
is
know why I randomly love that. As a matter of fact,
SFL.
yes, I do.
Yes, we do. SFL is reminding people to share the channel. Yes, by the way, that's a good reminder to also like the stream, everybody. Liking the stream really help us out. Um, really does help us out to grow the channel. So make sure you share the channel, but also more importantly, because it takes very little time, just like the stream right now on YouTube. Thank you very much. We gotta. So here's the thing. Somebody's saying deport. I don't know how we could deport. I mean, you don't deport. These are citizens, aren't they? Citizens?
I
These are
don't know about
citizens
the
of America.
immigration status of the parents or the brother. Presumably, the brother is also an American citizen. I really have no idea. I have literally no
Yeah,
idea.
guys, these are citizens of America. These are
They're
Americans.
likely
These are
citizens.
American. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right. Likely, like probably citizens. I don't know what you are talking about. We got some super chats. Let's do. By the way, before we do the super chats, somebody was heartbroken that I mentioned Nigeria and I didn't mention Kenya. So I was so sad to see this person heartbroken, and I just wanted to make sure I do give a shout out to Lobronzo because he or she is watching from Kenya, and we love to grow our fan base in Kenya as well. So thank you so much, Lobronzo, for bringing that to my attention and for being a member. Yay! Okay, did you wanna? Is this something you wanna
Oh, I
highlight?
just this comment from Rune was good, saying young Swedish Muslim girls are sometimes taken to their family's country of origin and forced to marry some older man that their family has chosen. The Swedish authorities know about this problem. This is common across the world. Children get brought back to go marry their cousins in different countries. It's often used as a form of punishment against both boys and girls when they become too quote unquote Western. And then another thing that happens is also what is called vacation cutting, which is
Right.
when a child is born in, America, Europe, whatever, and that they come from a culture where they practice female genital mutilation, and the family knows that they would be prosecuted and sent to jail if they do it in the country. So they go take her overseas and then do the female genital mutilation and bring her back on vacation, quote unquote.
Mm. All right, we should do the super chats. First, we're gonna
Yes.
do the super chats that are related to the news. So, here, you want to read this one, Anish?
Anish Joshi said, and his brother and father, who are out on bail, will get a whole support system, a glimpse of how religion operates at its nastiest. That's a possibility. There was an extremely notorious case of an Egyptian family that committed an honor killing against their two daughters, and the entire local community came together to help them go in hiding, even though they were on the most wanted list for like 10 years,
Wow.
um,
Okay.
assisted by their brother and the entire community to help escape justice. But motherfucker, they were caught and they were charged and they're in jail. But it took a while though. So that's a
By the way,
possibility. I don't know though.
guy, I just want to thank you for all the super chats. We're already getting a decent amount of super chats already at the beginning of the streams, and people are buying memberships for other people. And this really helps us because this stream is very likely to get demonetized. So thank you
Mhm.
guys for doing that. Thank you, appreciate that. So Gasian American.
Gage American saying CPS was used to separate Native kids from their parents. Oh, CPS, for those who don't know, is Child Protective Services. Was used to separate Native kids from their parents to be raised by Christian parents. I need the left to evolve with the times. Yeah, and I'm not trying to deny the fact that there are systems that have been used in really horrible ways in the past, but we need to have a more nuanced understanding of these issues. And we can't, the attitude that I was talking about is an overcorrection. It's an overcorrection. Yes, there are instances where Child Protective Services has been used to fracture the families of particularly like Black and Native people throughout the history of America, right? But the way to correct that is to not refuse to intervene when kids from those backgrounds are being abused in the present. That's
Right.
not the correction that we want to make here.
By the way, I really like how Gasian American super chats are now a lot easier to read. So thank you for that. This is such a great improvement compared to before. Thank you.
Instead of a
That's
cryptic, very esoteric, yeah, riddle. Oh, and
right.
Kenny gave 10 super chats. Thank you
No, no,
for giving
10
all
member
excuse me, memberships. Excuse me,
10
memberships.
memberships. 10 more people are now members. Thank you so much, Kenny. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Um, yes, and so far we got 15 membership gifts. Secular Sakai has a question with his super chat saying, any updates on
Uh
PayPal monthly donation status? Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.